Peterbot is obviously the most dominant Fortnite player we have seen in recent memory, and usually this has always been in team modes, but in this particular season, he has really taken things up to another level. In all but one of the solo cash cups, he has either placed first or second. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down his 15 elimination victory royale from the most recent solo cash cup, not only breaking down his fighting strategies, but all of the tactics he uses to make these games so easy in comparison to everyone else. Peterbot has switched up his drop from Crime City and solos to now dropping at this place just outside of Boxy. The main reason for this is going to be its close proximity to the train. This drop doesn't have a significant amount of loot, with only a couple of chest spawns, one super chest, and 3 slurp barrels. But what really makes this drop kind of underrated is its close proximity to the train, as he quickly grabs his bat and heads over, and he's the first one to claim this, basically uncontested. And after securing the train now, he has the mythic shotgun, the mythic medallion, he has a chug jug, and also gets a ton of gold from this train, making this drop spot very worth it. After securing the train, he's going to rotate to Lone Wolf Lair and uses a very smart tactic of throwing down this scanner to reveal that there's a player lurking inside. He immediately retreats, goes back to get his bat, and because of this, he's able to open up this fight with a jump shot, nearly cracking the opponent's shield. Once that opponent tries to rebox, he pressures the wall beautifully, claiming the wall in the cone, sliding it in, but instead of just editing and shooting, he edits and resets it, which causes him to not take any damage, and he eventually sprays through, getting the opponent to essentially 1 HP. That opponent drops down incredibly panicked, and Peterbot doesn't take any chances, never jumping in, always playing his Agables, and he's able to easily secure this elimination without taking any damage. The next engagement from Peterbot is not particularly clean, as he ends up pushing the opponent who claimed the ban, and him and this opponent actually get into a long drawn out box fight where both him and the opponent end up trading significant amounts of damage, but Peterbot here is going to go huge, as he's able to steal the opponent's chug jug that is just lying on the ground here, which is going to eventually make it easy for him to disengage. That opponent makes the terrible decision to not let him go, and unfortunately, once out of the box fight scenario, this opponent has no chance, as Peterbot ends up cracking his shield on a right hand, coning the opponent off, spraying through, breaking the ramp, and then picking up that elimination, securing him even more loot. Because of that elimination, he now has, in addition to the mythic shotgun, the mythic AR, and after this, he's going to increase his loot as he goes to the black market and ends up buying 12 splashes, a boon, and then eventually drops 6 of those splashes for the mythic chug jug, which obviously somehow makes him even more stacked than he was previously. The next engagement is pretty textbook, as he opens up with a damage advantage and then uses some splashes in the storm to make sure to stay as healthy as possible. The opponent ends up cranking, so he chops him out and eventually cracks his shield on the drop here, eats a little bit of damage when trying to go back up, but once he ends up popping the 2 splashes, the opponent decides not to heal, and take a look at Peterbot's crosshair, as it never leaves the opponent despite the opponent controlling the wall, and eventually with the mythic AR is able to bleed through and pick up this elimination. Now, after securing this elimination, remember how he blocked 12 splashes? He just simply goes back to the vault here to maximize all of the splashes which he used in the fight, making it again where he was just as stacked as he was previously. The next elimination is incredibly free, as he opens up with a damage advantage, and that opponent makes the mistake of taking the zipline, and Peterbot absolutely fries him, and with good pressure here, eventually that opponent is going to build down to the ground, where Peterbot is able to clean up this elimination with the AR without even using his shotgun in this fight. Despite the significant amount of loot he already has, he even claims more, as he goes up to the island here to secure another chug jug, as well as another medallion for him to use. After jumping off the island here, he's going to be granted another free elimination on this opponent flying through the air, who ends up essentially getting pinched between him and Peterbot, and Peterbot eventually is going to slide in, take the wall, put the opponent in a cone, edit it, and one pump him for another free elimination. In the next engagement, he repeats the exact same thing, starting off with a damage advantage, and then eventually he's going to claim the high ground. But Peterbot is going to show off his ability to easily read opponents, as that opponent is going to edit down, which Peterbot easily predicts, hitting the opponent for 37 with his AR, and then hitting a massive pump shot after resetting, and then getting some bleed through with the AR to get another elimination before this end game. The next engagement again follows the previous ones, as he starts off with a damage advantage and as you can see, that opponent is essentially panicking in the water, so Peterbot knows this is a very easy key, and he plays incredibly aggressive, getting a significant amount of bleed through with the Mythic AR, and once again picking up this elimination without even having to use his shotgun. Take note of what he does here. After securing this elimination, he actually pre-boxes in hard mats to go into the storm, and then he tanks some zone, uses the rest of the materials to get Cat backed up, and then maximize his splashes. He pops the extra splashes, which is going to come in handy in this next engagement, as he uses the pickaxe effect to completely catch this opponent off guard, taking both walls with lightning fast efficiency, and he once again gets another free elimination onto this unsuspecting opponent. The next elimination is very free, but once again a result of his aggressive playstyle. He has a significant amount of materials and extra heals to play with once he gets this very favorable zone pull, so he elevates in metal here, and an unfortunate opponent who tried to rotate right in his AR distance ends up getting essentially 200-0 out of this guy, granting Peterbot another free elimination. Finally, at this point, Peterbot is going to slow down a bit and play a lot more technical. This next zone pull is incredibly far, but as soon as it pops, he immediately goes up to front side unencumbered and gets on an elevated layer, and when the zone finally opens up, he stays elevated, which gives him a ton of rotation options for the next zone. This next zone is the best case scenario for Peterbot here, since he's on this very well established structure and the zone pulls his way, he's able to grab free high ground super early, and with his significant amount of materials, this is going to be incredibly easy to hold, as he holds this high ground, pressuring everyone around him for the entirety of this moving zone in particular. The next zone pops, and this is another favorable pull, but Peterbot knows he needs to continually get impacts. He starts off with a damage advantage onto this opponent, pops a splash to give him the exaggerated pickaxe effect to go for the opponent's wall, cracks another opponent's shield, and then takes that weak opponent's wall, hitting a nice one pump, and now he got an additional refresh to hold the high ground. He is then going to use his Mythic AR here to pressure the opponent on second height in fellow pro Eshu, who is in hard materials, letting Peterbot know that he is a threat, so he needs to grade his materials to get him off and around that layer. While pressuring Eshu, an opponent flies by, and Peterbot uses fantastic aim here to pick up that elimination, thus securing him another impact. After picking up those materials, he immediately elevates to give him some distance between him and the rest of the lobby. He's going to continue punish Eshu here, who did not drop after still getting pressured the entire time, but since now Eshu is on wood, the pressure from earlier pays off as he ends up cracking his shield, and once he goes to front side, he's able to get bleed through with a Mythic AR, securing another elimination and the biggest threat to his high ground. After picking up that elimination, he drops down for the materials but makes an important switch, dropping the AUG to the Mythic Infiltrator. This is a significant advantage because of the amount of pressure it can do to build, and in this last moving zone, most opponents are going to be on wood. This immediately pays off after reconnecting to the high ground here, as he's able to spray through, pick up a free elimination onto this very weak opponent. Now, high ground is going to be challenged here. Take a look at the awareness by Peterbot here. He sees that opponent is taking a Chug in the old metal builds, but doesn't forget about him while still looking to pressure others. He gets a very nice chip damage with a nice double edit, and then with a 3-tile edit, cracks his shield while he's in the air and is able to clean up that elimination, guaranteeing that no one else in the lobby will now be able to challenge him for his high ground. It's a last moving zone, and Peterbot ends up getting a damage advantage on this opponent, dropping down, but initially smartly going back up. Another opponent challenges him here, but he's able to hold the high ground easily since he has a significant amount of materials from all his impacts. It eventually turns into an easy 1v1 as he continually holds the high ground here with a significant amount of heal off potential with the Chug as well as some flashes that are left over. Eventually that opponent is going to expose himself and he hits a Tifu Classic, cracking his shield and placing the floor, and that opponent ends up going down to Storm, making this a fantastic win by Peterbot, who never let go of the high ground from essentially 9th moving zone. Well guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's VOD review. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. And I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.